Good afternoon, Luke. Let's firstly start with the latest from Chorley Langstaff and Adam Chickson. Of course, both went off last week against Gateshead. What's the latest on their injuries?
Yeah, both recovering very well. I would expect to see both players over the Christmas period, all being well and everything goes in the same way it has been. So not too serious.
Yeah, I mean, how much of a concern was it seeing them both go off?
Yeah, of course, it was an enormous concern for me because both players have been very pivotal in the starting lineup, and we're going to need them absolutely for sure. I mean, next month looks like it's going to be incredibly chaotic, and we need everybody fit.
Yeah. I mean, going back to last week's win against Gateshead, what did you make of their approach? There were a few rough challenges in there against your players, which resulted in losing Langstaff and Chickson. I just wondered what your thoughts were on their approach to the game.
I was disappointed, but I completely understand that they're fighting for everything. They're in a tough place in the league, so I understand. I expect them to be very competitive. I felt like one or two challenges were late and after the ball had gone. Chickson had already crossed the ball and he's sort of pushed off the pitch. And I think Macca has already released the ball when he's hit as well. So I don't think necessarily I want to say that was the deliberate thing, but I think that when you're not in a fantastic place and you're chasing actions and you're a little bit late, in general you're a little bit late, a little bit off the pace. I think maybe it's more of a case of that than anything more malicious than that. But yeah, it was disappointing because we suffered quite a lot in a game where we ran out quite comfortably in the end in scoreline, but we suffered a lot because we lost two important players.
Yeah. Now, it's an opportunity for others to step up. Like you say, you've got other players coming in who are ready to come in, starting tomorrow against Chorley.
Yeah, I have no concerns about that. I think that we have a squad that are fit for purpose is the most important thing. We're not carrying anybody at all in the squad that can't put in a great performance, and that's very important to me, and that's going to be a key. It's going to be very, very key over the Christmas period and going into January.
Yeah, looking at the Chorley game tomorrow, you use that game as an opportunity to bring other players in. Are you going to try and go for a bit of consistency with the lineup?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you look at the squad, it's not a huge squad, so I don't expect there to be a drastically different look to the team. Of course, if we play youth team players, it gives us a very different feel. But we have a very, very healthy first team squad, albeit, like I say, small in numbers, but very, very practical. So I expect us to look like our normal self tomorrow with a strong lineup.
Yeah. Looking at the midfield options you've got, obviously you brought in John Bostock. You've also got Jim O'Brien back, and Francis amongst others. There's a lot of competition there in the middle of the midfield. How do you balance that out?
Well, I think that if we are going to compete on two fronts, and like I say, I'm looking at the schedule today, particularly if we win our game tomorrow, we have another game in January. We're looking like 8 games, competitive games in Jan. And we're going to need the midfield to be able to change around the players in there and freshen it up. At the top of the pitch, we have good numbers there and guys that can come in fresh from the bench, and then we're expecting Connell back in the near future, so we should have good numbers in the back line to be able to rotate as well. And so I think the midfield area where we play with a box of midfield, like 4 players in there. We need the numbers. We need people to be able to come in and out.
Yeah, and just touching on Jim O'Brien, he's obviously come back for a couple of weeks now. Did it feel like almost like a new signing, having an experienced potential midfielder there returning to the 18 or the 16 rather?
Absolutely. And I've spoken before about what Jim gives us as a footballer and as a man. He's really incredible. So I'm really very, very pleased to see him back, and he's going to be extremely important for us for the second half of the season.
Yeah, it's a nice partnership there, isn't it? I'd imagine with John Bostock, an experienced central midfielder, and Jim O'Brien, having them two around the squad as well. That must give you a huge boost.
Yeah, absolutely. John is a really impressive guy as well, and he now just needs to get up to speed with the with the style of play and one or two different positions that he needs to try to practice, and Jim will help him with that. As will the likes of Ed Francis and Matty Palmer and Ruben and Sam, Kevin, they were all of them sit together in the unit meetings and review each other's actions on the screen. Then they train together. They change positions in training. They discuss a lot when they're on the training pitch about how they like to play in their certain thing. Obviously with John, they're letting him know the things that I like and that I don't like. So hopefully we're getting John up to speed quickly.
Yeah, I mean that must be quite difficult though, as for you, the head coach general, for John the player, because he's come into a squad who are on the crest of a wave at the moment, top of the league, and playing a lot of high intense football. It must be difficult for him to come straight in and try and learn as much as he can from yourself and the players around him.
Well, I think it speaks volumes for John that we're so keen to bring him in when we are sitting at the top of the league, and the performances have been exceptional from those midfield players. So it really says a lot about his qualities, that we felt that he can come in and can improve that group. And yes, I think that we have to be patient and recognise that for all his qualities, he is coming into a group that have a way of playing and a way of working, that have been doing that for a while, and that takes time to get up to speed. And also the fact that John has just not had half a season. He's not played. He's not had a full pre-season at all, and so we have to just remember that and be patient with John and allow him the time to get physically fit, mentally conditioned again, and also learn a particular style. And he will do, and he'll be very important.
Very well. Let's talk about the game that wasn't on Saturday, of course. Right goal before the weekend to call it off due to the frozen pitch.
Yeah, unfortunate that one, because we were wanting to roll on and keep the momentum, but of course the conditions just became impossible for us to get the game on as good as even our ground stuff. And so we will play that game probably at the back end of January or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, important to get the game on tomorrow quickly as well, so you don't lose that momentum, I'd imagine.
Yeah, we're really pleased that the temperatures have soared back up, and we don't see any reason for the game to be in doubt tomorrow. And I think, as you say, that's really important, because to have a break can bring advantages, but to have too long a break, it starts to become more of a negative.
Yeah, I mean, did the postponement on Saturday or Friday rather, but for the weekend game, did that give you an opportunity to work on a few extra bits in training, or did the players a bit of a rest? What did you do with the extra time that you had?
No, we worked hard on Saturday, which one or two of the players needed some time to warm up to that idea, but they all trained very, very well. I was very happy. We were able to get some tactical work in, stuff that particularly again for John Bostock, to try to show him the different positions that maybe he's going to play, and also to do the conditioning work as well. Some hard running on Saturday, but the players were superb. They understand their responsibility, and that's been very a key thing for me, is for the players to really respect the club that they play for, and the privilege you get to play at Meadow Lane and so on, and they respect that brilliantly. So yeah, we use the time. Hopefully, we use the time very well, and now we have a chance to see if we can make a good performance tomorrow. Yeah,
indeed. Come up against lower league opposition early in the season in the FA Cup. Disappointing result against Colville. What lessons do you learn from that game? And do you think back to that game when you come up against Chorley tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, of course we were we were disappointed with the result, and more importantly, one or two things about the performance that we were very unhappy with as a group, and we need to avoid those type of scenarios tomorrow. and I'm pretty sure that the guys won't take anything for granted. We know that Chorley are a good outfit and they have some very good players, and we knew that with Colville, and it proved to be the case. There were some absolutely key performances on that night from Colville players, and I'm sure that if we're not on top of our game, then there will be players in that Chorley side that will punish us.
Yeah, I remember when we spoke afterwards, you talked about transition and not dealing with that on the day. Is that something you've emphasised more of since then in training going forward?
Yeah, we trained today and try to reinforce the importance of transition, and we practiced a few different potential tweaks that we may make to the formation. If we feel like we need to use a formation change to help us deal with transition better, in a same way that we do for many league games as well. And so hopefully the message is clear, that we're not taking anything for granted, and that we have to be at our top of our performance to get a good result tomorrow.
Yeah. Away from Notts, did you watch the World Cup final last night, by the way?
I managed to listen to part of it on the radio, and I watched the extra time at home, but I was at Pirate Soft Play, unfortunately, for part of for most of the game, which of course to my boys was very important. So that was very, very exciting to watch the extra time, and to see Messi, I think, and Mbappe are pushing the levels to incredibly high, and they're pushing the level incredibly high. I mean, you look at Mbappe, his composure in a game of the magnitude, and he's already been there. It's staggering to think that he's already scored in a World Cup final before this one. Is staggering. And then Messi, the way he dispatches the penalties, it's an incredibly high pressure. You can't get any higher pressure than that. But he's playing, the ability to play the moment and not the occasion at all. He's just mind-blowing, honestly. He's just really mind-blowing to see that level of quality and composure in that moment. It's incredible. Yeah.
I mean, while the World Cup's been on, obviously it's been a very busy period for Notts. But have you managed to sort of use bits of the World Cup, the highlights of those key moments in training, for example, like watching the likes of Messi and Mbappe taking penalties or dealing with high pressure moments like that? Have you managed to use that in your day-to-day training?
I think, honestly, I felt like I would be able to probably use more of it, but in actual fact, I haven't really been able to use too much of it to directly link to what we're trying to do here. I think that our objective is clear, and we prepare for our games and in the way that we need to prepare and so on. But I think we've all enjoyed watching bits of the World Cup, and certainly we have looked at stuff as a group in meetings. We've looked at some but I mean, quite frankly, some of it is that good. The players are of such an incredible level that they do things that actually we probably would avoid, because the demands of players to reproduce some of the stuff that we've seen from the top players is unrealistic, and so we've just enjoyed it more than been able to use it as a tool, actually.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Luke, appreciate your time as always, and best of luck tomorrow. Thank you.
Thanks, Jake.
Hi, Luke. Just a quick one. Many have suggested that tomorrow and going out of the competition could be considered a positive, just so you could focus solely on the league. I just wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, if we lose tomorrow, I'll certainly be using that line. I've got no doubt of that. And I think, in some ways we would say, that would be like a silver lining or something like that. But certainly I think that we want to have a winning mentality, and it's difficult then to ask the players to take it easy, or to not worry too much about the game. I think that we've prepared in a thorough way, and that's the mentality I want the players to have. That in the end it becomes a habit, that they only know to go onto the pitch and really try to win, and to give everything. And I think that's the mentality that we have, I hope, and I think that players will try to impress and want to be show themselves in a good light. So that they're in a favourable position, you know, for a league game, and all these things. I hope that that's the mentality. So, yeah, and then of course if we don't manage to win the game, we will take some small positive out of the fact that we have one less game for us to worry about, and we can focus entirely then on the league campaign.
Does tomorrow provide an audition almost for, obviously with the upcoming games in January, it's a hectic fixture schedule. Does that give the fringe players an opportunity to, you know, put themselves in your mind for selection every week?
Yeah, what I would say though is that I think there are so few fringe players. I think it's hard actually now to look at anyone and think that they're totally out of the picture. And that's a really healthy thing. But at the same time, I think that everyone wants to try to impress. I think that the fact that they respect each other as a group a lot, they want to play well to show each other, you know, that they're a good player. And I think that that's something that can be very hard to attain. That, you know, the respect between the entire group, that they all really appreciate each other's qualities and that, and therefore they don't want to let the side down, and they all want to show that they're a good player and perform well for their teammates. And so I don't see any reason why the lads would go onto the pitch in any other frame of mind other than to try and show up well and impress.
And then tomorrow, obviously, you've already been in cup action this season and lost to Chorley, and you gave Lucian Mahova his debut. Is it a chance to give those academy players a platform to, you know, showcase the talent of the academy in, you know, games that can be seen in front of the fans as well?
Yeah, I think to some extent, but I'm really not in favour of giving players an opportunity when they didn't necessarily deserve it. I think that Lucian obviously thoroughly deserved his opportunity, and I think actually I would say that there are one or two other guys there in the youth team set up that definitely deserve an opportunity, but then I have to weigh that up with how much first team players really need to play and deserve to play. And you know, I'm really pleased that I've got a group of players that all want to be involved. They all want to play tomorrow. So yes, I think there are guys there, young players, that potentially will have a chance to shine on the pitch and have their first experience out there. But equally, if the game doesn't require that, or it doesn't feel the right thing to do, then that won't happen.
And then on another academy player, Luther Munakandafa, extended his stay with Basford last week. And I just wanted to know, what was the thinking behind that, and how impressed have you been the way that he's conducted himself since moving over there?
Yeah, I think that Luther has expressed that he's very, very keen to play a lot of minutes, and he wants to play senior football. So it's no good for him playing for the youth team here anymore, because he feels, and we feel as a club, he's probably outgrown that now. He has outgrown that. I think he would struggle to get minutes here at the moment with the first team, because I think the competition is a tad too strong at this moment in time for him. But of course, we know he's very talented, and he's now really cutting his teeth at senior level, and I think that's a really great thing. I think, you know, if we were a club with like a second team under 23s, something like that, would be perfect for him. But, you know, equally, I've worked in an under 23 setup where all the players go on loan immediately, that they can secure a senior loan. Because I think there's nothing better than that. Once you're ready for senior football, I think that is the best place. And Luther is learning his trade now at senior level, and he's doing very well.